now Closer Edge actually brought up a good point. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're going to go over this real quick.
Madonna. He's stunned. Maybe that's because he shoved a taser somewhere too far. Don Lemon was fired by CNN, and the network disputes the details. How many people figured that at some point this would happen? If you guys watched any of the videos that I did about Don Lemon, you guys know that I figured that this would come. I think if you watch most people's videos about Don Lemon, we all figured that it would come. But now here's my question. How many people thought that Tucker Carlson was on his way out? Facts. Shout out to Terrence. I had a video 2 months ago saying it would happen. But who called Tucker Carlson though? I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I didn't see that one coming. Now, what I find interesting is that Don Lemon increased CNN stock. The only problem is that it was the laughing stock that he increased. But at the same time, Tucker Carlson was an actual liability to Fox. He actually cost them a lot of money. Don Lemon didn't. Deneen says Tucker was bringing out a lot of truth, so I wasn't surprised. Now, here's my question for you, Deneen. What did Tucker Carlson say that was true? He had a little conversation with Tariq Nasheed. Was any of that true? Or what about his white replacement? Is that true? PD Chicago says Tuck wrote a check that his mouth couldn't cash. Facts. Black Bitcoin's Key says Tucker has been saying stuff that goes against Big Pharma. How do you guys like what he says about black people? Is that true? If you guys appreciate Tucker Carlson's truth about black people, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, then give me a thumbs down. I gotta agree with Oil King. Tucker is a white supremacist. And Don Lemon is an idiot. And they both not only got the same boss, but they got the same attorney also. Against pharma, anti-war, that's what I meant. Now I feel that. I can get with that. My thing is that why the animosity towards black people on Tucker Carlson's part? See, to me, like me personally, I don't care how much truth you tell. If you're talking crazy about black people, if you're accurate, I'll say, yeah, this is accurate. But I'm not about to lend you anything to your credibility if you're talking crazy about black people. You know what I'm saying? And Tucker Carlson sat up there and used his platform to shit all over black people. Every opportunity, anytime there was a crime anywhere, he would try to attribute it to black people, specifically black Americans. Don Lemon, he did the same thing, but not to the degree that Tucker Carlson did. Tucker Carlson also spread propaganda that was documented as part of the motivation for the Buffalo massacre. You know what I'm saying? Tucker Carlson was a big sponsor of that fake replacement theory. You know, the replacement theory of what they actually have gone around the world and done, but are claiming somebody somewhere is doing to them. PD Chicago B1 says Donna actually grew a spine at the very end. These guys are both exactly where they need to be. One of them is probably in the unemployment line. The other one is probably doing cocaine lines. Tori says, I wonder if Tucker had that deer caught in the headlights look on his face when he got the news. I bet you he got the news on a nice company letterhead with severance pay. It's Don Lemon that got the embarrassing exit call from his agent. You know what I'm saying? So now we got to ask the question, right? Aside from our personal feelings about these two, why did Tucker Carlson, why was he allowed to leave with grace versus why was Don Lemon fired disgracefully? Let me ask you guys a question. When did Tucker Carlson ever get disciplined by Fox for anything that he ever said? You know, they was big mad about what Don Lemon said. Remember, Don Lemon is LGBTQ, but man, he sure was the misogynist. Oh, Torian says because Don checked Vivek ramen noodles. I didn't catch that, but I'm glad that he did. And so the thing that I find fascinating is that, let me ask you guys this question. We all know that Don Lemon is bought and paid, right? Terrence. We all know that Don Lemon is bought and paid. But here's my question for you. Did you get more out of Tucker Carlson than you got from Don Lemon? Shout out to my man Cameron. What's good? Did we get more from Don Lemon than we got from Tucker Carlson? You got Tucker Carlson basically saying there's a war on white people, which is nonsense. You got Tucker Carlson saying that there's some kind of white replacement theory going on, which is nonsense. We got a couple moments of decency out of Don Lemon. But what I find fascinating is that people are more quickly, right? Because let's just keep it a buck. I don't feel sorry for either one of these guys, right? But we got to look at this on a strategic level, right? And when it comes to strategic levels, when it comes to how they look at things, they never do anything wrong. It doesn't matter how wrong Tucker Carlson is. They're not throwing him under the bus. Whether somebody was Trump, pro-Trump, or anti-Trump. Right. Now, Lloyd Sky 9. White replacement theory emboldened the Tops massacre. Tucker never apologized for that. Facts. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many massacres did Don Lemon inspire? There's more people like us literally celebrating and twerking that Don Lemon got fired, and giving Tucker Carlson accolades. And Tucker Carlson spit rhetoric that's responsible for 11 dead black people. I'm no fan of Don Lemon, but I'm just saying. Just something to think about. I think that there's something that causes people to want to see the downfall of a black person. Oh yeah, twerking. You know what I'm saying? They twerking it up. Having a good time. Enjoying the fact that he got fired because of some comments that he made about women, and somehow applying that as if he said it about black women. Which he didn't. He said it about Nikki Haley. I disagree. I think that it is a comparison. Don Lemon isn't responsible for anybody's death. He didn't say any rhetoric that led directly to a death. Tucker Carlson did. That is a comparison. That is a direct comparison. And everybody works for WS. White supremacy is global. They literally own every single asset on the planet. There's no one that's escaping white supremacy as of right now. So how is it not a comparison? And the thing that's interesting about this, that Closer Edge didn't bring up, is that nobody sued Fox News for being proponents of replacement theory, which was responsible for 11 dead black people in Buffalo. You know what they did? They got sued for their talk about Dominion election machines. The constructive value of comparing them is to talk about the brain damage that most people have, about how people can twerk and be ecstatic about watching another black man fall while claiming to just care so much and not really giving too much of a shit and actually cheering on a guy who's responsible for 11 dead black people. It just proves the point that we have very little value and very little room reading ability. That's the constructive value of it. Reflection on the sadomasochist twisted psychology that this world has created. You serious? The constructive value, Tucker Carlson is partially responsible for 11 people being dead. Go to Buffalo and tell some of those people's families, well, what's the difference between Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon? I appreciate you. If you ask me, Tucker was horrible. Don Lemon was too. I am not a Don Lemon fan. But a lot of times we get into this thing where we get so distracted because we see somebody who we've been saying, you need to change, not change, and they fall into the trap that we are overly excited about something that's not necessarily a W. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm no Don Lemon fan. I'm not a Don Lemon fan. I cannot stand Don Lemon. I think what he did with Charles Barkley was absolutely disgusting. And we're going to be talking about Charles Barkley soon. You know what I'm saying? But Tucker Carlson deserved it worse, if you ask me. Torian said Don did too much of that identity and respectability politics, things that turn many black people off. Yeah, I agree. Especially when he had that dialogue about the reparations with that British lady. That was almost as sickening as that stuff that we talked about earlier. You know what I'm saying? I agree. 110%. And what's so sad is when Don first got to CNN, the black community had his back in a huge way. But after he came out, he took a downward slope. He became a brown noser, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. He definitely changed. But what I find fascinating, though, is also looking at the situation, right? Like, he didn't cost CNN any money. Tucker Carlson is the sole reason why Fox had a huge lawsuit, and CNN hasn't listed a reason of why they got rid of Don Lemon. And I just find that interesting. And my thing is like, I like to get to the bottom of them issues. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's up. I want to know why. I want to know the ins and outs. You know what I'm saying? So now, let's see what they're talking about here. Don Lemon says he's been fired from his post at CNN This Morning, which he co-anchored with Caitlin Collins and Poppy Harlow for about 6 months. The former anchor, who was on air Monday morning, shared news in a statement on Twitter. I was informed this morning by my agent that I was terminated by CNN. I am stunned, he wrote. CNN CEO Chris Licht said in a statement that the network wishes him well and will cheer him on as he pursues future endeavors, echoing what he wrote in an email to CNN staffers obtained by USA Today. To my CNN colleagues, CNN and Don Lemon have parted ways. Don will forever be a part of the CNN family, and we thank him for his contributions over the last 17 years, Licht said. He added, CNN This Morning has been on the air for nearly 6 months, and we are committed to its success. Why was Don Lemon fired? Now, let me ask you guys this question. Shout out to Hobb. What's good with it, bro? Why was Don Lemon fired? Does anybody have the answer to that? Anybody know? If you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment, smash the like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, make sure you guys hit that bell. And also, please make sure you guys share the video out. Toria said because of ramen noodles. Tasha said he helped white people feel more comfortable in their racism towards us. Who? Tucker Carlson or Don Lemon, or both? Because if anybody helped white people feel comfortable in their racism, Tucker Carlson gets that award. Closer Edge said he's been talking greasy on air about white women. If you guys agree with Closer Edge, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. I agree with what Closer Edge said. And in addition to that, he was also having in-studio issues with his co-workers, which are 2 white women. Know what I'm saying? So now here it says neither Lemon nor CNN offered a reason for the exit on Monday. Lemon expressed frustration with the manner in which he says the news was delivered to him. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly, Lemon added in his tweet. At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work that I have loved at the network. It is clear that there are some larger issues at play. With that said, I want to thank my colleagues and the many teams I have worked with for an incredible run. They are the most talented journalists in the business, and I wish them all the best. All right. So now this is what Don Lemon put up. USA Today has reached out to Lemon's agent for a comment. CNN's communication Twitter account said Lemon's public assertions about his termination are not true. Don Lemon's statement about this morning's events is inaccurate, CNN said. He was offered an opportunity to meet with management, but instead released a statement on Twitter. Don Lemon's news career at CNN lasted nearly 2 decades. So I don't think we need to read that because we all know what was going on there. Now, USA Today headlined this: Lemon's offensive commentary on Nikki Haley made headlines. His offensive commentary? Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think that Don Lemon's commentary on Nikki Haley was offensive? He said that Nikki Haley was post-wall, which she is. Now, nobody's told the truth about Nimrod or Randhawa, right? But I wonder what anybody would have said if somebody had to call Nikki Haley by her actual name. Nimrata is busted. Yeah, big facts. But see, the issue is that in a world of WS, the object is to destroy black men. Toria says, do it, Rob. Go on CNN and call her real name, man. I would never go on CNN. Unless it was a zombie apocalypse scenario. Patricia Slade says Don Lemon thinks that he's a woman, but he's not a white woman. Do you guys agree with that comment? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. What he said about Nikki Haley was facts. Now, here's the interesting thing. Nikki Haley's not a white woman. She's a transracial. You know what I'm saying? But she's close enough. And she's allies with the right country. She's still a post-war hag. And she's a transracial. And her father worked at a historically black college, while at the same time telling her while she was growing up not to associate with black people. Now, the thing that I find interesting is that it was Don Lemon's two co-workers who got offended, right? They got offended by the comments that Don Lemon made. So I want my dudes in the comment section to understand this. And I'm sure that you guys have seen this recently with a lot of things that go down. When it comes down to quote unquote certain people, when cornered, will always knee jerk to feminism. I saw certain people get dragged and they said, "Oh, I'm a woman." What do you mean you're a woman? In 1 minute you want to be a man and have the same rights, same privileges. You want to be able to fight, hit, call names, attempt to emasculate men. And then when your feelings get hurt, you want to turn around and say that you're a woman. People always revert to their raw instincts when cornered. It's fight or flight, norepinephrine and epinephrine. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. When people like Don Lemon's two co-workers are cornered or get their feelings hurt, they're going to revert to feminism. Feminism is one of the ways, in cooperation with the legal system, that WS uses to emasculate black men and always make us show the brunt of consequences in the world. It's also one of the things that prevents us from being able to institute our own consequences, which is one of the reasons why the entire system has to go. There is no working with the system. Anybody that is on any kind of political train thinks that there's any kind of allyship, it'll never work. And I gotta agree with Torian. It's an extension of WS, facts, which is one of the reasons why it's always used. Look at John Major. Notice how John Major went from he allegedly did something before being found guilty. All of his contracts were stripped. Proof came out that he didn't do it. Now all of a sudden here comes the unknown army and the feminism has reverted. Feminism is the reason for all of those race massacres that Torian talks about on his channel. Feminism. The grandmother to the Me Too movement. Feminism is the reason for most of the race riots in the United States. It's a weapon. Shout out to my man Torian. Make sure everybody goes and checks out episode 17. Major's getting that Cosby work. Facts, Hobb. Cameron says Michael Irvin got the video with proof and he's still suspended since the Super Bowl. Didn't what's that boxer's name? Davis? Didn't that same thing happen to him? His baby mom smeared crap all over everything and then tried to say that he attacked her. Feminism. Feminism is nothing more than the lynch mob of the criminal justice system. Know what I'm saying? Lemon's offensive commentary on Nikki Haley made the headlines. Nikki Haley's supposed to be a big girl. She should be able to take it. Racism doesn't exist. Then she should be able to live with the reality that she's a post-wall. Right? I mean, racism doesn't exist. If racism doesn't exist, neither does your youth anymore. You look like you should fly to the government office on a broomstick. Right? Don Lemon ain't allowed to say that. The consequences, as long as white supremacy is the government system of the world, which it is, will always come down harder on a black man. Which is one of the reasons why, regardless of what you think you're a liberal, you think you're a conservative, it doesn't matter. There's no survival for you under this system. Everything is a weapon. So the only way to deal with it is to get rid of it. Deneen Grant said he offended 2 brown people and that was a wrap for his career. Facts. Super facts. So that's one of the reasons why, like, I have lots of issues with the stuff that these people say online and a lot of the male movements, is because, like, if you're a black man and your male movement isn't to get rid of WS, I don't understand what the purpose of it is. The whole purpose of WS is to emasculate you eternally and make you a organic trophy of victory, like a head of a hunted animal on somebody's wall. And I don't understand how people can be okay with being that, because I'm not. I don't understand how people can be okay with raising kids knowing that that's what their kids are going to grow up in. I didn't understand this kind of stuff when I was younger. I understood a little bit of it, but I didn't understand it to the extent that I understand it now. And honestly, if I had understood it the way that I understood it now, I would have never had kids. So now here it says the news of Lemon's termination comes on the heels of reported alleged misogyny and a lengthy piece from Variety. So you got the mainstream media to hop on you first to get into the minds of the people so that the people can come up with the verdict at the Court of Public Appeals that they want you to come up with. You're skipping ahead, Closer Edge, but that's true. I was actually gonna get there. You're right. In February, Lennon made headlines for offensive statements about former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, for which he apologized in February. So, I mean, honestly, again, like I said, he shouldn't have apologized, but whatever. In an on-air discussion with his co-host, Lemon said Haley isn't in her prime. So that's disparaging. I'm not in my prime. You know what I'm saying? Like, last time I checked, there was actual age, chronological, biological parameters on when a person is in their prime. Like, if you say, hey, you're not a kid anymore, is that disparaging? That's a disparaging statement. You know what I'm saying? So, report chronicles allegation of Don Lemon's disrespect towards former colleagues. All right. So now we have all of this case building up of quote unquote this misogynistic behavior of Don Lemon. Misogynistic behavior. Allegedly, Lemon had been accused of making other offensive comments about women on air and in the past, and according to Variety report released this month, inappropriate behavior towards female colleagues at the network. So again, what this is a white smear campaign to make a black man look like a degenerate, which Don Lemon does a good enough job on his own making himself look like a degenerate, grabbing people's and such. But this is what the network is doing. But now Closer Edge actually brought up a good point. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're going to go over this real quick. How many people knew that Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon hired the same lawyer? How'd that happen? Somebody called up the Bar Association and they just happened to give out the same number for the day? Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon hire a top Hollywood lawyer. Brian Freeman has a track record of getting multi-million-dollar settlements for TV stars and has represented celebrities like Quentin Tarantino, Julia Roberts, and Seth Rogen. Now, do you guys find it interesting that they happen to get the same lawyer? Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon, freshly ousted from their perches at top cable networks, have hired the same powerhouse lawyer to navigate their exits. That's interesting. Shout out to Carla. Carla says she knew that. What do you guys think about that? Isn't that interesting? That's interesting. Shopping at the same store. You know what I'm saying? Shopping at the same store. The prominent Hollywood lawyer, Brian Freeman, has a track record of getting multi-million-dollar settlements for TV stars and other celebrities. He represents Chris Cuomo, the former CNN anchor who is seeking $125 million for wrongful termination after the network fired him, and secured a payout of Megyn Kelly's full contract when she left NBC. So look at the players here. Shout out to the lovely Sherry. Chris Cuomo used the same lawyer. Not really. Hollywood is a small town. That's facts, Bitcoin. That's facts. I didn't know that Megyn Kelly used this guy. The news that both Mr. Carlson until recently Fox top-rated Prime star, and Mr. Lemon. Until recently, one of CNN's morning hosts had retained Mr. Freeman. Portended possible fights ahead. Freeman declined to comment. Mr. Freeman, who is based in Los Angeles, founded the law firm Freeman and Tatelman, which Michael Tatelman in 1997. He became known as an aggressive litigator representing high-profile clients in the entertainment industry, including Quentin Tarantino, Julia Roberts, Mariah Carey, Seth Rogen, and Gabriel Union. In recent years, he has represented ex-TV hosts including Mike Richards, a former producer of Jeopardy, and Chris Harrison of The Bachelor. He also represented Michael Jackson's estate in a $100 million fight against the HBO documentary Leaving Neverland, which was won on the appeal. Did you guys know that? If you guys knew that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't, give me a thumbs down. And I gotta agree with Tasha. Tucker shouldn't get shit. He's done enough damage. And Don Lemon is full of shit. These are our news people. For the past 14 years, Freeman has been included in the Hollywood Reporter's annual list of entertainment industry top 100 lawyers. In 2022, he said to the publication, "How do employers police their own? What kind of due process is there?" Mr. Freeman was accused of sexual assault in the 1980s while he was a university student and eventually settled the case for $40,000 without admitting liability, according to court documents. Insider earlier reported the suit and settlement. So I thought that was interesting.